Welcome everybody to Bobby Talks, ... Those dots are there to tell you that there's always more to the story. Today, the story is Legs Feed the Wolf.
That's right, baby.
We've got Ian Cicchini here, Conversations with Friends, episode number 2. And I got to tell you, I'm very excited. This is my buddy going on now 3-4 years?
Yeah, about 3-4 years now.
Yeah, he was a first-time school teacher coming into Waldron at the time. He was teaching there back in 2017. 2017. I started teaching, I think, a couple of years before you.
Yeah, it's been a ride.
Yeah, it's been crazy. And I remember my first impressions of you. This guy back, I think you had longer hair then, right? It was pretty long hair.
I had cut it because I was like, well, you know, hey, you don't play in a band anymore. You should probably look the part.
But it was like smooth, thick back.
Yeah.
It's way shorter now than it used to be, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I remember thinking, I was like looking at this guy. I'm like, okay, what is this guy going to bring to this school? What does he offer? So he was a new English teacher. And I remember looking at you and thinking, okay, I didn't think anything bad, but I was like, is he going to last? Is he going to, you know, be one of those 3-4 month guys and then he's out?
Right.
Because Waldron, unfortunately, at that time anyways, had a high turnover rate.
That's what I gathered.
Yeah.
From what I've been told.
And the man comes in, he sits down, he leaves his footprint on everything, and forever in the hearts of the kids. So kudos to you, brother.
Appreciate that.
What do you think, man? Have you ever done a podcast before?
No, always wanted to. Just, you know, never really put my foot on the gas, I suppose.
Yeah, and this is one of those things that for those of you that don't know what we're trying to achieve here is Conversations with Friends is basically one of those things. He just said a beer and a campfire. I said, you know, it's the idea of being in the car with your friends late at night, driving down the road and just seeing where the conversation goes.
Yeah.
I always think that's when people have the best talks.
When everything's unscripted, you just kind of go.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, you're kind of vulnerable in that moment to everything. And, you know, this is not a gotcha show. I'm not trying to get you on anything. It's not one of those things.
Yep.
It's just, let's just see where your heart lies and go from there, you know?
Cool.
That being said, a lot going on in the world today, a lot going on with you and me. You just moved into a home.
I did.
Yeah. How long? You've been there, what, 6-7 months?
Yeah, since August.
Okay.
So.
Teaching at the school that you grew up in?
Yep.
How's that going?
Oh, dude. It's the job.
The job.
I told them that at my interview. They said the vice principal was interviewing me. He goes, I think I know the answer to this question, but I have to ask it. You know, why here?
Right.
And I told him, I looked him in the eye, I go, because this isn't a job. This is the job.
The job.
Yep. And I was hired 2 days later.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess maybe I'm putting you on the spot here a little bit.
Sure.
Don't want to, but if it's the job, then that means 30 years. Well, that's the career, right? That's the goal.
Trying.
Yeah.
That's the one I'd rather not leave.
Sure. And I understand that. That's awesome. It's funny that you say the job for your high school. I loved where I went to high school. I loved Sand Creek. But I did have a job interview there about 4 years ago. And I have no problem saying this, that for me personally, I don't know that I look at Sand Creek as like the job for me, because only for the fact that like I don't know that I would feel evolved as a human being if I'm still walking the same halls that I walked as a teenager.
Okay.
And, you know, I need something different. And I feel like at Waldron, they've given me a platform to kind of, you know, have influence, have a say. And really, I've been able to make those relationships with yourself and the kids. So to me, right now, Waldron is the job. So I'm very happy where I'm at. So.
Well, I got so lucky going to Waldron first, and then there's obviously, you know, just from stuff that we've shared over the years, is where I work now is incredibly different.
Sure.
However, the one thing that remains the same is what I literally just told you before we started recording is Waldron and where I work now has been, I get to teach life. English is just my platform.
Right.
Whereas at other places I felt like, you know, I wasn't there to enrich lives. I was there to collect a paycheck.
For sure.
And that's not what it's about.
Right.
Especially for someone like me.
It's the intangibles of life, man. You talked about what you said in your interview. That is my go-to, especially as a physical education teacher, right? Mm-hmm. I want to teach the intangibles of life. Like, sure, I hope kids, you know, find a good, healthy workout habit and, you know, feel good, be good, mind good type thing, you know?
Yeah.
But the intangibles of life is what I'm teaching. How to lose correctly, how to win correctly, teamwork, sportsmanship, how to overcome adversity. And you can take that in every classroom. And you brought that to your English world.
Yeah, I tell you what, when I'm not going to name him, I don't want to put him out there, but at one of our more recent seniors, like within the past couple of years,
sure,
messaged me on Facebook and So I was notorious for like giving them a really big paper at the end of the year. I told them, you will earn your diploma from me, kind of deal.
For sure, yeah.
So he messaged me on Facebook. He goes, Mr. C, I have a question. And I'm sorry, this is out of the blue. And I go, yeah, what's up? He goes, that final paper. And I was like, yeah. He goes, that had nothing to do with English, did it? And I said, no, it didn't. And he goes, I got it. He goes, I get it. And I was like, that's what matters.
It's the deeper meaning behind what, the platform is this paper, but you're trying to teach them something intrinsic, trying to bring them out, deeper thinking.
Yes.
Yes.
And then he just said, thank you. And like, that made my life.
Yeah.
Just that.
Yep. And people that don't understand that in the teaching world, that right there is why we signed up to do it.
Yeah.
It's the thank you. And sometimes, I wear multiple hats. So I'm the dean of students.
Yeah, I know.
I'm the athletic director. I teach PE. But the reason I bring that up is that at times, and this isn't to feel cry for me type thing, but at times it can feel like a thankless job, right?
Oh, for sure.
Especially in teaching, you're like, man, I feel like all week I dealt with more behaviors than I did actually imparted or input knowledge into somebody. But then when you kind of see those adversity moments come up for those kids and you see them overcome them, and then they come back to you and they have that conversation with you. Cause I can name a handful, and that I'm so proud of as people now, Elijah Gritzmaker, Roger Westfall, Terry, all these kids I will name because I'm so proud of them as kids and as men now. That's why we do it.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know. I guess it triumphs all of the tribulations throughout the year.
Yeah, it's welcoming. It's obviously, when you're there, you're not their friend,
right?
But like, it's cool. Like now, outside of it, well, now I can be because we also have that mutual respect for one another,
right?
And
it's earned.
Oh, it's been so cool. Like, this isn't my student. This isn't my former student. This is my friend, so and so, and that's a cool feeling,
right? And it is a great feeling. It's a
incredible feeling.
It's one of those things. I sometimes I'm a little because I've got so much going on. I sometimes feel like I don't stop and enjoy those friendships that have been made and earned when they do, graduate. Because I tell them all the time, they're like, Mr. Gifford, give me your Facebook, accept my friend request.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, the day you graduate, I will. The day you graduate, I will.
Yep, that's what I told them.
But at times I feel like because I'm constantly at full speed all the time, I'm not able to enjoy, those friendships that were made as much as I would like to.
Yeah.
And that's on me. I've got to do a better job with that. But I don't know, man. It's I know I miss having you in the hallways.
I know.
That's been tough, but we you put the you kind of put all the things in place for the next person to be successful, and she's doing a great job because you put the platform and the foundation down.
Thank you.
Which was desperately needed. So
I appreciate that.
For sure, man. With this being said, though, I've just always been curious. I don't know if I've ever asked you this. Like, why teaching? Why use this platform instead of some other platform to, like you say, teach life skills?
So I had flirted with the idea of teaching before, but what really settled on me was two things. One was my dad, and the other one, I should say, was just having a group of teachers that didn't quit on me. Because I'll be the first to tell you, Mom, Dad, I don't care what you say. I was a terrible kid in middle school. I forged, I lied, I cheated, you name it.
Sure.
I did it.
Yeah.
And was caught. Luckily was caught.
Right.
Because, I often get asked, if you go back and redo it, would you? I said, no. You know how much stuff I learned from screwing up that bad?
For sure.
So when my dad comes in, he always told me, Ian, you need to be something that technology will never replace. So that was the first foundation. That's a
great piece of advice right there.
Yeah. So, we can use today, like present day as an example.
Yeah.
Can't replace face-to-face instruction.
You're learning that right now.
Yep.
On a wide global scale, how many kids that are struggling with this virtual? Yeah, you're absolutely.
So, and then, I had this teacher in middle school that Rob, I hated her guts. Like the mere mention of this woman's name made me angry.
Really?
Hated her. It's so looking back on it, years later, hindsight's 2020.
Sure.
Like, good God, she's the only one that cared that much about me, and all I did was fight her.
Right. Well, they always say, you learn this now, you've learned that in hindsight, retroactive, but they always say, I'm not going to put this much time into you unless I see potential in you.
That's my point. she saw something in myself that I didn't see, and all I did was fight her. All she did was care about me.
Yeah.
And all I did was wanted to fight back. But if I can do that for somebody else, I feel like I would have done something with my life.
For sure.
And then the why English? Well, that one's a little less dramatic. It's just the only thing I was ever consistently good at. So I was like, yeah, English it is. English sounds good.
It's funny you say that though. I we were talking about like I just mentioned teachers saying, I would never put this much time into you unless I saw some type of potential in you. I find, dude, I've had to struggle, not necessarily struggle, but like I have to navigate and dance around some of the language and jargon that I've had to use with kids because I've had kids come up to me and say, Mr. Gifford, you're not going to tell me that I have potential again, are you? So like I have to literally, you do. It's like a dance with these kids, right? Each individual kid you have a relationship with. Each individual kid you have to use a certain type of jargon with. Each individual kid you have to present and approach in a different manner.
Yeah, there's, you don't treat kids equally. You treat them fairly.
Right.
There's a difference. I think that gets lost.
It's a huge distinction. Why don't you elaborate on that a little bit more?
So let's say you have kid, straight A's.
Sure.
Very, intent on getting always straight A's. And they have an A minus.
Right.
And they come to you, can I get some extra credit? I'd like that to be a solid A.
Right.
Well, of course. Like, you busted your butt for me for 4 quarters. Why would I, not reward you for that?
Right.
And you have kids that sleep their way through class. They're failing. They're like 20% below a passing grade. Can I get some extra credit? No.
Right.
No. And that might sound like disheartening to like some people, but
no, it's not.
You can't, in my opinion, you can't treat students equally. You treat them fairly.
Here's why, Ian. Maybe I'm stepping on your statement. If I am, just tell me I'm wrong. But in my eyes, the reason because I agree with your sentiment, it's a huge disservice to that kid to bail him out in that moment when he did or she did not earn that right up until that moment.
Yes.
So by bailing them out, and kids, if you're listening, you need to understand this lesson. It's not that we don't care about you. We care dramatically about your success. We're now doing this step because we feel that it will lead to more success for you down the road.
Correct.
So, and that's why, like right now, the conversation about from spring to now, it's a little bit different. When COVID hit, when spring happened and COVID hit, of course, we were all like, I don't know if we can fail kids. I don't know if that's the right thing to do because this was so new to everybody.
Right.
So what we did was we given everybody an opportunity to improve their grade, but it could not get worse. And I was fully on board with that. Some conversations take place now whether or not we should fail kids. Well, we've known what this is now since August and September. Right. And the conversation should be, do we bail these kids out again? Or should we, did they earn their F? Should they get their F?
At some point, you got to step up to the plate if you're a student.
Yes.
Yeah, this sucks. It sucks for everybody.
Everybody.
Us included. Mm-hmm. So it's either, it's time to go. It's go time.
For sure.
Step up to the plate. You're next up to bat. Let's go.
If you bail them out now, what ends up happening is you're saying to them that life will throw you curveballs and that everybody will always give you an excuse.
I completely agree. I don't buy the fact why can't we? The best teacher is failure.
Right. Totally agree. Because that's the only way you learn.
Exactly.
Right? We trial and error certain things. Elijah Gritzmaker broke his jaw, unfortunately, in my gym class because I had a really piss poor lesson plan.
You told me that story. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, and I always was like, man, I feel like this was on the fringe before, but I always got kind of away with it in that lesson plan. And then finally he got hurt, and I was like, you're an idiot. Why did you ever think that this was an okay lesson plan to do? And thankfully he gave me the platform to improve and learn from that failure.
Right. Unfortunately, took the broken jaw of a student.
Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, but he's a trooper now. So, I'm with you, man. I just, I was always curious what got you into, teaching in the first place.
Yeah. And, it's funny, like in college, you're like, by the time you decide teaching's not for me, it's too late, man. You're in student teaching.
Dude, you're already into it.
Yep.
Yeah. And student teaching is an animal of its own.
And that's what's rough. It's like, is this really for me? Well, unfortunately for you, you're not going to know till your final semester.
Right.
Like truly.
Because that's when you actually get, experience into that world.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's funny. I know that you're somebody that doesn't want to talk too much about this, and we won't venture down the road. But I am curious, man.
Sure.
Okay, you and I were both teachers, right? So one of the things that we have to look at is how do we have conversations with our students, okay? Especially when something like, what happened on Wednesday or Tuesday or whatever night it was.
Yeah.
What kind of hope can you give to your students? What kind of conversations do you have with them afterwards? It doesn't have to be political.
Right.
Just about how to navigate what's going on with adults in this world, because they can go both ways on this. They might be conservative, but they still need to see the wrong in it. They can be liberal, but still need to see the wrong in it, and what was trying to be achieved. So, like, where do you go with it?
It's funny you bring this up. I actually, yesterday, as a matter of fact, I stopped our review with about 10 minutes left in class, and I said, hey, I'd like to talk about what happened at the Capitol building. And I said, okay. Because for me, it was important to see that through their eyes.
Right.
So what did you think of it? What's your take on it? And to their credit, for 17, 18, 19-year-olds, they had a civilized debate. No one screamed. No one was in each other's grill. It was, I have something to say. Who has a retort to that? Raise their hand. No one yelled at each other. No one called each other stupid. It was very promising to see that we could have that conversation with no bloodshed.
Right. In that space, in that platform.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially in a group, you have 21 boys.
Right.
Who, sometimes I have to be the biggest man in the room kind of deal.
Testosterone kicks in.
Yeah. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
But it was nice. I thought it was important to have. Also because I felt like it was important to see the world through their eyes.
It's a great way of looking at it. In my job interviews, I always talk about one of my biggest strengths is also my biggest flaws. And that is I believe in giving the kids a voice.
Right.
And sometimes as a teacher, you give them a voice for too long. You let them maybe, example being in a class, kids having a bad moment, you give him a platform to speak, and then maybe he overtakes, it goes on too long, right? And then you kind of lose the rest of the class. So you kind of have to balance that. But I think it's important, like you said, to see the world through their eyes. Say, hey, this happened. What are your thoughts? What took place in your mind? And you said that you come from more of a conservative school. We're teaching at a conservative school. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily always align my ideas with that, but I have to keep myself more impartial to it. I have to give them their platform and not show my hand. I have to say, okay, that's interesting. Have you thought about this?
It's funny. I feel like I couldn't have done that 4 years ago.
Really?
Now I know I can.
What's changed?
I don't know. Experience.
Okay.
Indoctrination by fire.
Makes sense.
It's just, I've learned I can, without showing my hand, I can play both sides.
Okay. It's a tricky kind of dance. It's funny because I also believe in being fully transparent.
Right.
So they come up to me and they'll ask you, these kids are,
they're blunt.
Oh, they're blunt as all get out. Mr. Gifford, who are you voting for? People have told me that I should keep my opinion to myself, but you asked me, and I'm going to be honest with you. I'm voting for Joe Biden. And they'll say, how can you vote for him? Or,
sounds about right.
Right? You're like, how can you vote for him? And then we'll go down there. And then finally, everyone, Aiden McAllister is a great example because he's a kid that's really growing up in my eyes. And he comes up to me and he had a pro-Trump flag. He's walking down. He's draped in it. He's doing his thing. He's involved. He's paying attention. How much, I don't know, but he's interested in it. Right. So we have a conversation. He asks me, how could you vote for him? And I give him my reasons. And then I don't agree with you, but I guess that's your decision. That's all.
Yep.
It goes back to what I used to say to you, right? What was it? We can disagree, and that's okay.
Yeah, the famous Gifford line. Hey, we can disagree, and that's okay.
And that's okay. Yeah, and that's just something that is crucial to learn. So enough about the heavy stuff. Let's kind of dive into your coach, man. So you're coaching your hockey now.
Yeah, I'm just volunteer for now, but hey, we all got to start somewhere.
Yep. Hey, but so your experience with hockey is what? You played it growing up. You've been playing it since you were how old?
4.
4? You can skate at 4?
Yeah.
Really?
Can't play hockey, but I started skating.
Really?
At 4, yeah.
I guess I'm blown away by that. Can you stop? I'm 30.
It's no different. It's no different. My dad's got me out there, and I can't stand, so he's holding me by my arms.
Sure.
4-year-old kid. But it's obviously he had that, and Justin had it with his newborn Jordan.
Yep.
Like he goes, I laid him on the ground, turned on basketball, and he was mesmerized. He's like, I got him. That's it.
Yeah.
I walked by, I walked by, whatever, by my dad's TV. Red Wings were on. That was it.
That's all you needed.
Hockey was on. I was like, I'm in.
I sometimes wonder if anything could have been on, as long as dad's watching it and you're paying attention.
Yeah, but that's why the indoctrination of the father is an important part of the childhood stuff.
Dude, you nailed that. That is so important. So important. I just said that to our kids. I was right before Thanksgiving break, I believe it was. I sent them this big, long, almost PowerPoint type presentation in Facebook Messenger to our group chat for the boys basketball team. At that point, we were struggling. Those kids were struggling with their grades. They were struggling with their ambition. And I sent them something, and we come from unfortunately, a lower SES status. And I told them, I said, look, and maybe as did you said you were a little shit growing up. And with me personally, and as it wasn't necessarily, I was always kind of kept in check, but I was kept in check because, my father wasn't a big part of my life, but my grandfather stepped in. Mm-hmm. And I tried to sell that to them as that, look, you have to be able to recognize when somebody outside of the traditional home is going above and beyond for you. My grandfather was that for me. If you don't have it as a family member, is it a coach? Is it a teacher? Mm-hmm. You have to acknowledge the people in your life that are going above and beyond for you so that you can be successful in your life. So I sent them this big, long thing, and I put some jokes in there and stuff, but like that was my grandfather, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? But anything he had on, I would have paid attention to.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it was, maybe this is a child, what's the word I'm looking for? We're both Lions fans. So is that, torturing kids right there? Can you call social services on parents for making them Lions fans?
My child will not be a Lions fan.
You're not going to make them a Lions fan?
No.
Oh, I have to.
I will never put my child through that.
They have to earn the torture.
Now, don't get me wrong. This is how you know we're nuts. My dad and I were season ticket holders for a long time. For sure. So much so, my father paid for 0-16.
Oh, man. That is torture.
Yeah, it's bad.
Did you go to all 8 games?
Oh, yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
You earned your stripes there.
Oh, dude, it's been bad. It's been so bad.
And, it's funny because they talk about getting rid of Matt Stafford, and it
depends what you want to do. Are you blowing the whole thing up, or do you think you can be competitive in 3 years?
I think you've got to try to be competitive in 3 years. It's not your reasons for losing is not at quarterback.
Yeah.
So don't get rid of your quarterback. Sign him. Figure out how to get better players. I like they just brought in, what's his name, is Spielman. Just to kind of help out. I don't love him as a broadcaster, but I don't hate him either. I love that he's a Lion who wants to be good for that program.
He has a stake in this because he cares.
He cares. And I think in order to be successful, you have to first care.
Right.
So we'll see what comes of it. We'll see. I don't know. Interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I always thought football was going to be my route. I'm coaching basketball now. I might go down the football route, but you're hockey, man.
Yep.
So what position you play?
Defense.
You're defensive minded.
Well, so I started off as a left winger. Wanted to play center. I was having a tough time understanding offensive positioning. I couldn't quite put the puck in the net. I wasn't a big scorer. I'm still not. I don't have that many goals in my career, but I don't kind of say that to knock myself.
Right. That's not your role.
No. So I was also, I was playing for another coach. My dad ended up taking a team. Obviously took me,
Sure.
duh.
Yeah.
I remember we were discussing something in the car. I still remember it. I said, hey, look, I'm going to transition you to defense and see how you like it. Don't say no yet. Like, play a couple practices. We'll see. Tell me if you like it or not. Well, 20-something years later,
I think
it worked out. That's what's funny. I always tell people, like, I don't have many goals in my career, but that never bothered me because I took pride in my defensive play rather than, I need to find a scoring. It's not my job to score. My job is to prevent goals.
Right. Exactly.
And I really dedicated myself to that.
But kudos to you as a player, as a kid too, right? Because and this is what, as a coach, both of us can talk about this, but like as a coach, I try to tell kids, find your niche, find your role on a team. That way you can find more playing time.
Yeah.
Because if you get confused with what you are, you think you're a scorer and you haven't put the time in to be a scorer and you're not, you're going to find yourself looking and asking a lot of questions about why you're not playing more. In your case, you're like, that's not my job.
Yeah.
My job is defense. And you've probably found more playing time because of it.
Yeah, and it's nice. Like when you get to higher echelons of playing, you know, you're eventually at some point, dad is no longer going to be my coach.
Right.
And you know,
what age was that for you?
The first year playing without my old man on staff at all. Not just head coach, just not on staff.
Yeah.
It was my sophomore year of high school.
Was that hard?
A little bit.
Okay.
Because the thing that he did extremely well was he never treated me like his son on the ice.
Right.
If anything, I had it twice as hard.
That's very difficult to do.
He never treated me like I was above everybody else. If I screwed up, he sat me.
Really?
I was another player. When the game started, I wasn't his son. I was one of his players.
Right.
And I get mad at him on the bench. And I'm a kid. I'm ignorant. And I go, how can he be doing this? I'm like, but again, hindsight 2020. I'm like, no, you deserve to be sat, dude. Like, you played like crap that day. Would that carry over to the house? No.
Like, when you got home, were you like off to your room, ignoring him?
It was. Again, he'd maybe sit me a couple shifts. I go back in, let me cool off, and then we talk about the game on the way home from the rink.
Okay.
Once we got home,
it was done.
We're on to the next one.
Sure.
Here's a great example. My favorite criticism of myself from other people has been, you were only the captain because your dad was the coach.
Right.
I was only captain one time.
Right.
One time.
And you earned it.
Yeah, and it was the coaches had nothing to do with it.
Right.
It was I was voted by my peers.
Right.
To lead the team. I had been either, up until my freshman year of high school, I was either an assistant captain or not a captain at all. I've been the guy one time.
Right.
So that criticism is completely unfounded. Number one. Number two, if you were in that locker room,
you would know.
You would know.
Right.
You could vouch for everything I said. You ask anyone, we still talk about. We're almost in our 30s. We still talk about those days to this day.
You're going to be in your 50s, 60s, 70s, still talking about those days to this day.
Yeah.
It's always going to happen. It's a piece of you.
And that's kind of winding back to how we started the show, back to when I started coaching with you at Waldron. I was telling the boys, like, look, this is like my first real on my own coaching thing.
Right.
But one thing that I am is a winner.
Right.
I'm a champion. It doesn't matter what sport. That can never be taken from me.
Right.
I'm trying to give you some of that.
Right.
Everything we do from here on out is for a reason.
And we got about 30 seconds here before we take our break, but what's important there is because you are a champion, you have that culture, that taste in your mouth, you care. It really helped change our culture and our program at our school because we have not just a year of kids who care. We have grades that go back as far, I was looking at it yesterday, go back as far as third grade of kids that care because they see a culture of winning maybe on the horizon. So hold that thought. I just want to hit everybody real quick. You saw the word music on the screen as we started the show. We're going to dive into our crazy concert stories here coming up because we both love music and I think it's fair to say that, right?
Well, I'm wearing an AC/DC baseball jersey, so.
Yeah, I'd say it's fair to say that.
Yeah.
We'll hit you on the other side. We'll talk music. I'm sitting here with Ian Cicchini, a buddy, friend of mine, lifelong friend, family. We'll see you in a bit.
Sounds good.
All right, bye. Welcome back, everybody, to Bobby Talks, ... You know why those dots are there. Sitting here with Ian Cicchini, lifelong friend, Conversations with Friends, number 2. Lifelong friend meaning we're going to be friends from now until the end of my life.
Boy, I sure hope so.
Yeah, I really hope so. I think as 30, I'm in my 30s, you're pushing 30.
Yep.
I think we can safe to say that. When you're kids, it's not safe to say
Yeah,
that.
you don't know.
I might hate you by lunch.
It's true.
Yeah, I see it all the time. I've seen a couple start their morning together, break up before lunch, and then they're back together by the end of the day. That happens in high school world every day. So if you want drama, become a teacher.
Yeah, or if you hate drama, do something else with
your life. It's funny that you say that because that happens all the time. I've written down on 3 sticky notes here 3 stories crazy concert going stories that have literally nothing to do with what the band was doing.
Right.
You have your stories. We've collected this. I thought it'd be a fun little topic for us.
Sure.
I'm going to give you the road.
Okay.
Go ahead. Hit me with your first show, your first concert crazy story that you got, and see where we go.
Okay. So for those of you wanting something absolutely dramatic, you're probably not going to get it. Again, these are more like less crazy, more like that was really
surreal.
Cool. Yeah, it was like really cool for me. But we'll save that one for the next one because this one wasn't very cool. So I remember I mentioned to you off camera, like I had a really good like life lesson from a concert.
Sure. Yeah.
So unfortunately, we're not going to build the life lesson because it happens almost immediately.
Okay.
So we're at Pine Knob. We'll not call it DT Energy Music Theater.
Totally agree. Pine Knob.
We were at Pine Knob for Ozfest. I was 10 at Ozfest.
That doesn't tell you a little bit about his family. I don't know what will.
So we're walking in to one of the side doors, and metal going on everywhere, just every direction.
How many stages do they have at Ozfest?
There's the main stage, and I think there were 2 or 3 others. Again, this was 18 years ago now, so I'm not trying to. Regardless, walk in the front door, scans our ticket. I'm with my dad. My hair is extremely long. Oh God, I wasn't 10. I think I was like 13.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to like timeline this. I had to. Okay, yeah, I was 13. Because I'm trying to remember.
You're going off of the length of your hair. By
the length of my hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that tells you, hey, Catholic school standards. And that actually matters to where this ends up going is that my hair was long.
Okay.
I was wearing a pitch Black Sabbath shirt. Basically with the devil on the front.
Sure. Yeah.
Good Catholic schoolboy. Walk into the front door.
It's kind of like the yin and the yang.
Yeah,
who
no
you are,
doubt.
Right?
Dude, I was listening to Highway to Hell in my religion class. I'd walk in. We walked in. My first impression of an Oz festival. There are 2 dudes passed out under a tree.
Really?
Just gone.
Were you scared at all?
No, I was just like,
this is awesome.
What is like? I was like, what the hell? So, my dad kind of points at them. He goes, drugs are cool, aren't they? And I was like, yeah. He goes, those guys paid $300 to sleep under a tree.
Yep.
Drugs are real cool. Mm-hmm. Drinking is real cool. He was laying it thick with the sarcasm.
Oh, Dad knew what he was doing.
Yeah. So, I just remember because we weren't there right when the festival started.
Okay.
Like Ozfest started at 9 a.m. We got there about 12.
Right. He probably had a lineup, knew what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Sure.
So sure enough, 3 hours into the festival, these dudes are done. Their day is over.
That's because it probably was a continuation from the night before.
Probably.
Yeah.
Anyway, where things start getting really bad, it was hotter than hell that day.
When was this? Ozfest is usually July.
Yeah,
right?
It was right in the middle of summer.
Middle of summer. Yeah.
Pine Knob, not a lot of trees out in those parking lots where the stages are, not a lot of shade. I just remember we were walking to go to the second stage. Kill Switch Engage was playing, and I'd never seen them live before. I was just really starting to get into heavy metal.
Okay.
I'd been rock my whole life. I mean, you know my family.
Sure, yeah. Are you drumming yet at this point? You're drumming?
Not yet.
Okay.
I am flirting with the idea. I was playing bass at the time.
And this pushes you over the edge.
Kind of.
Okay.
So we're watching Kill Switch Engage on the stage in the parking lot, and it's 90-something degrees. I'm wearing black. I have extremely long hair. So you see where this is going.
I can already, yep. Writing's on the wall.
And all this, having a good time, and I kind of just start getting vertigo almost. I'm like, Dad, I don't feel very good. And he's like, what do you mean? Now he's starting to run through, is this something he ate, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, I don't think that's it. And I'm having trouble standing. And I'm pretty sure I was damn near having a heat stroke.
For sure.
And I'm like, oh my God. I'm freaking out. So he pulls me out of the crowd, and we go right to the concession, which of course line was long as hell.
Yep.
And his 13-year-old son's almost
I need water now.
Yeah. So he brought 2 bottles of water, we found some shade underneath the pavilion because no one was using the main stage yet.
Question.
Sure.
Are you now sitting next to those two guys?
No.
How apropos would that have been?
The
You know what I
poetry.
mean?
It would have been just poetry.
That would have been great.
So we're under the pavilion, and I'm drinking water and like lowering my head, and my dad is just pouring ice cold water down my neck.
Okay.
And I didn't want to do anything the rest of the day. It was just like, I can't like step outside. I don't feel good. And unfortunately, I use that step outside. Pine Knob is outside.
Right, you're outside.
So,
There's really not a lot of places to hide there.
So I stand under the pavilion until security tells us you can't stand here anymore.
Really?
Sun starts to go down. I start to feel a little bit better because it's starting to get cooler out. So sure enough, later that night, the main stage was Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath, and I had the great rest of the night. But I legitimately thought, I'm like, this is like, I'm going to pass out.
Especially when you were 13.
Yeah, I was freaking out.
I had no idea. How cool was Dad the whole time?
Super chill.
Super chill.
This isn't his first rodeo.
Like but with his 13-year-old son, it was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and he's now sitting under a pavilion. And how long were you there for? You said
Don't remember.
Quite a while, right?
Could have been because I don't remember the rest.
Just trying to get right.
Yeah.
That's kudos to your dad, man.
Yeah.
Kudos to your dad.
Like I said, it was more of like I said, learn my life lesson immediately. Don't do drugs. Don't drink. And then it was just cool. Can't wait to enjoy my first heavy metal festival. Heat stroke.
Yep.
So
maybe drink a little more water before it.
Don't wear black.
Yeah. It's hard not to wear black at those things.
Oh, dude, you should. Yeah, I still do it.
Yeah. You have to prepare for everything else. Bring a snack.
No doubt.
Bring a snack. So you were 13 then, right?
Yep.
So I must say that my first crazy concert story. Okay. I'm going to try to do these in order.
Okay.
Right. So
we're going to go back and forth. Or you're going to go right through them.
I'm just going to go. Yep. I'm going to go one and then we'll spar here a little bit.
Sounds good.
Okay. So I remember I was probably a couple years removed from my long distance relationship or my long-term relationship.
Okay.
I was with a girl for about 9.5 years. Yep. So I was I went to Bonnaroo, which is a big music festival. I know you're aware of it. Yep. It's a 4-day festival in Manchester, Tennessee. For those of you paying attention, right there's a lunchbox. I went there 2 years in a row, and then I went to Firefly for 2 years in a row.
Okay.
Started off, I had never heard of this band called The Vaccines. They were opening up for, I can't even remember, some other band. Okay. That's how uninteresting this other band was after the Vaccines, because I remember the Vaccines because of this story and because I was like, wow, you discovered them in that moment. And I was like, wow, they're great, right? Mm-hmm. I'm coming upon my first day at Bonnaroo. They give you a lineup of all the concerts and all the stages, right? Mm-hmm. There's 10 stages at Bonnaroo. There's 10 stages going on at one time at any given time. Well, I went with 10 other people. But none of those other people wanted to see the people that I wanted to see. So I was like, look, I paid $300-$400
right.
for this experience. I'm going to go see the people I want to see. And I'm sociable. So I'm going to have, I'm going to make conversation.
Right.
Well, anyways, I worked my way until about midway through the crowd. Okay. And I'm at the Vaccines. I'm waiting for the next band. And I'm like, I'm really enjoying this. Well, there's these two girls. And they come hovering around. And next thing I know, a mosh pit just explodes. And we're right in the middle of this thing now.
Right.
And I'll mosh. As long as it's the fun mosh. I'm not in there to hurt nobody. I'm not elbowing circle.
You should never go to a Slayer concert.
Yeah, I'm not. I won't. I've been to a Slipknot concert, but I'm not going to do the Slayer thing.
Okay.
So I'm not here to hurt anybody. But so next thing I know, I'm here to protect people. That's the role I took in that position, right? Okay. I've got to protect these two girls from getting hurt. So I'm sitting here. I'm probably, I don't know, 20, I don't even remember, mid-20s.
You were trying to play the knight in shining armor act?
I'm going to be the hero of this show, right? So, because I don't really know this band, but I know I'm digging the vibe, and I'm loving the mosh pits, but I've done enough mosh pit to that point. All I know is that all of a sudden, these two girls were playing like the damsel in distress. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe this is going on, but they were kind of curious about it.
Naturally.
So what I've learned was that over a course of conversation with these girls, that they had... this was a new experience for them. So like me, I'm like, oh yeah, this is what you have to do. I've got you, like the things being pushed and I've got them barricaded and blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm also at the same time encouraging them to enjoy the concert, and they're having a great time. I'm having a great time. And one of them was really digging me. This is the dumbest thing you can ever do. The friend to the girl that was digging me goes, I would love to go crowd surfing. She goes, oh, I don't know. I go, you should go crowd surfing.
You picked her up.
I picked this girl up,
Jesus.
chucked her into the crowd, and basically at a festival with 100,000 plus people watched my weekend go bye-bye, floating over the crowd of hands and just waved like an idiot. And it got about halfway. When she got about halfway to the stage,
Wait a minute.
I go, what the hell did I just do? That was it, man. She was gone. They were both gone. They had a blast. I had a blast the rest of that weekend. But it was just like, I just thought it was one of those funny stories where I'm like, what the hell did you
It's one of
just
those
do?
cuts. Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here.
Exactly. That was me. It's like the Dumb and Dumber at the end of the movie. It's
Yep.
like, I'm sorry. You'll have to forgive my friend.
He's a little slow.
He's a little slow. So, yeah, that was my vaccine story to start
Jesus.
off my first ever festival. So, but hit me back. What you got?
Okay. So early on in college, late high school, I was playing in a band with a bunch of my friends. So now I'm going to switch from going to a concert to playing in one.
Okay, so now you're okay.
I am like, okay, so we are playing, you know where the machine shop is in Flint?
I don't know.
Okay, so we're playing at the machine shop, a bunch of like bigger acts have
How
played
big a
there.
venue?
Not terribly big, but that's kind of also like the appeal of it.
Oh, for sure.
It's like almost like club rock.
Intimate. Everybody's on top of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're expecting, we pull in with all our gear, and we're like, okay, well, we're a bunch of kids. We're like, 18, 19 years old. We're probably going to go on at like friggin' 1 a.m, right?
Right.
We're not going to get one of the prime slots. Concert starts at 8 o'clock. They're like, you're going on at 10. We're like,
Right in the heart of it.
yeah, we're like, you're going on at 10. And I was like, okay, we need you to unload all your gear and put it along this wall.
Okay.
And obviously we're be ready to work. Like, you can watch the show, but be ready to, like, it's almost like a conveyor line. We're going to move all your gear up as the bands are going on.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, cool. Start unloading all our amps. Like, this is like one of our earliest gigs as that it's formal.
Sure.
We had played a bunch together, but like, they're all like, we're at our friend's house or maybe a small get together, like with some friends. This is like one of our earliest, like, this is a thing. Like, you have a gig tonight.
And you guys are stoked about it. It's a
Yeah. So this is also the concert we had learned. My stuff needs to be unpacked first because I'm the drummer.
Right.
So we're unloading our stuff. Things going against the wall. The amps, guitars, pulling my drum set out. Cool. Enjoying the show so far. Well, I'm going on at 10. It is now like 9:15. Probably a bad time to realize I don't have a stool. I'm like starting to put my cymbals on their holders and like making sure my kick is all, is tight. And I'm like, where's my stool?
Where was your stool?
At home.
Oh, no. Ian Cicchini.
To be more accurate, in my dad's office.
Oh,
because
man.
I stored all my equipment at his shop.
So before we continue on,
Yeah.
maybe explain why just grabbing a random chair doesn't do the same thing as the stool.
It's actually, it's harder to explain. Like, if you have a back, like, you want to do this
Right.
a lot, and one, it hurts.
Right.
Two, with the way that like the bottom of a chair is shaped, it feels awkward to like play drums with your kick pedal.
Sure.
At least for me. I'm not speaking for all drummers. This is me personally. I cannot play drums with a chair.
Okay.
I've had to.
Right.
Sucks.
Right.
Would rather not.
So this is a big deal to you now. So you're panic mode.
I am in total panic mode. We are 2 from going on.
Okay.
Yeah, because 9:30, you get a half hour.
Right.
Crap. It's a 45-minute drive home.
Yep.
Ain't happening.
Not happening.
So now I go up to Sean, who's my guitar player at the time. I go, Sean, like, what's up, man? Oh, my stool. Because we mean you don't have your stool. And I'm like, I don't have my stool. Like, I don't know what to do. So we're like, why don't you just ask one of the other drummers to like take their stool?
Oh, good point.
So I'm like, well, as we set off, I hate people.
Yeah, I know.
I don't want to talk to a stranger. So I'm like, look, I'm going back. I'm like, okay, someone who's playing later. So I start going back a couple more kits. Like, hey, where's your drummer at? And they're like, oh, it's me. Like, can I use your stool? Like,
And never
it was
find-
so weird. I was 18.
Yeah,
I was like, this is ugh.
Especially if you're a kid that doesn't like people.
Yeah,
you
I'm
know,
like, can I use your stool?
that conversation alone.
He
Yeah.
goes, what happened? And I told him, I effed up. Like, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, go ahead. They go, thank God. They're like, go ahead and do your thing, man. So I grab his stool. We're trying to go up. I have no time to adjust this thing. This dude is varying height from myself. I didn't even, again, boneheaded rookie move by me. Didn't even check to see how to adjust his stool in case it was too high.
You were panic mode.
Oh yeah, full time.
Clock, yeah.
First big show. We had to sell tickets for it. Like, this is like, we're not getting paid to be here. Like, it was you were selling tickets to get people to come to the show.
Right. Just exposure for sure.
Yes. So we get up, and it's, of course, like my dream scenario. I'm on the riser above everybody. I have the best seat in the house. Crap. So I'm setting my stuff up. I'm tying my drum set to the carpet that's on the riser. Setting everything up. Going through sound check. I'm like, okay, well, this isn't perfect, but I'm gonna have to roll with it.
Right.
Gets worse.
Oh God.
Our singer at the time was having throat problems.
Oh no.
So we had Sean, my guitar player, was like taking almost backup reps at practice.
Okay.
We played the song 2 times, once with our singer, once with Sean singing, just in case. Because to Brian's credit, as our singer, to Brian's credit, he was like, I can push through this. Like,
right.
I can do it. I'll tell you after the first song.
Okay.
So we play our first song. It was a great tune called Depths of Despair. It was so heavy. I loved it. I love playing it. And then right at, we do the big ending. Brian turns around, looks at me, and gives me the thumbs down.
Can't do it.
I can't go on.
Yikes.
And to his credit, like, he wanted to make sure the show was good.
Right.
He's like, I'm not going to do this if I can't. Like, I'll just own up to it. He goes, I can't do it. Like, give it a thumbs down. So we're like, okay. Plan B.
Which is
Sean sings.
Sean sings
And plays guitar.
And,
Lead guitar.
And Brian, you said is the lead singer. Mm-hmm. Did he continue to play?
No, he was just a singer.
He's just a singer.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Brian's like looking for his girlfriend, now fiance, looking for his girlfriend. The guy's like,
this is it.
This is it. So he gets off the stage. Sean gives him, hey, he told the crowd like what was going on. He's like,
I gotta go, man.
Brian's gotta go, but we're gonna press on. We're gonna have a great night. Well, we only had time for like 6 songs. First of all, because we're dumb, and Depths of Despair is like an 8-minute song.
But that's how you do it, man.
Yeah, I mean, so we play the set, and this is one of the cooler moments. We play through our set, and the sound guy's like, you have like 5 more minutes. We have nothing prepared. And this is where one of the coolest things that ever happened to me personally is our rhythm guitar player, his name was Scott. Scott and I had like similar music interests, and we're all looking around at each other, and out of the blue, Sean and I look at Scott, go, do you want to do TNT by AC/DC?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, we had not practiced it, but we played it at practice all the time.
So you knew that everybody knew it.
Yeah, because we felt like it was fun.
Yes.
And we're like, do you want to play TNT? And Scott goes, you want me to sing? And we're like, because Scott always sang it. Mm-hmm. And we're like, can you do it? Like, you wouldn't be playing rhythm guitar. You're just going to sing the whole time.
Just complete improvised moment.
Yeah. So, and F it. Like, let's do it. So sure enough, Sean hits the opening power chord, and I have come with the drums, and the whole crowd, that where they're doing the oi at the beginning.
Yeah.
Whole crowd. I'm like, this is the coolest thing that has ever happened to me in my life, and it was all improvised.
And that's the best moments, man.
Wish the story had a happier ending.
Oh,
no, it's nothing bad. We're going to circle back to the stool thing.
Oh, God.
To this day, I still don't know what happened. We're done with our set. Everyone pretty happy. Like, we got a big ovation that made us feel like $1 million.
Yeah.
You would have thought we just headlined the Palace. It was so cool. We're getting off the stage, and their crew, the machine shop's crew, is helping me move my stuff off the stage. They don't know that's not my stool.
Oh, man. Yeah. Oh.
Picking all the equipment up.
I know where this is going.
And they put it off stage. I pack everything up, and I'm like, oh, crap. I got to give this back. I walk in there, cannot find the dude. It saved my life. I picked the stool up, walked back into the crowd against the wall. We had all our equipment. I go, that looks like his kit. Put it down, walked out.
Oh my God. This guy never got his stool back?
I don't know.
You have no idea.
No.
This guy, I was just going to ask you in the beginning of the story, when you borrowed this dude's stool, I was like, you guys are probably best friends right now because of this moment, and you have no idea.
To this day, I don't know if he got a stool back.
Do you even know who he is? No. What band that was?
No. That looks like his drum set. Set the stool down. Gotta go.
So here's my question. Here's what I want to know. Did that guy then have to borrow someone else's stool? And then that other...
Right, and it's just a continuous
just
cycle.
This domino effect of something that took place because...
No idea.
That is hilarious, man.
No idea.
That is hilarious. Well, I'll tell you what. We got, I think, time for 2 more.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to use this one here. We're at Firefly. Okay. So this would have been my last year at Firefly.
Okay.
Again, one of those times where that day, I think it would have been year 4 of going to a music festival in a row. I think I was in like the second to last day, and they put Snoop Dogg on at 1:00 in the afternoon.
Jesus.
Right?
Yeah.
And he is not on a main stage. He's on one of these side stages. It still holds a pretty good crowd.
Right.
But everybody wanted to see Snoop Dogg. So you've got a space for maybe 50,000 people. And I mean, when I say everybody, I mean like the entire damn place was there as if he was like headlining at 1 p.m. He was just so much fun, right? So I would say probably 70, 80,000 people were there. We're leaving 20,000 people for the other 9 stages. It was so pushed back, but everybody in the crowd was just vibing, right? It was a vibe, as the kids say. But I was so far back, I could see just clouds of smoke everywhere.
I'm like,
right?
I know where this is going.
I mean, this is everywhere. This is crazy. There's clouds of smoke going everywhere. And I'm mingling and I'm having a good time and I'm talking to people and whatnot. But now what's crazy is that there is one of these, what do they call those? It's like almost like a ladder type thing for band or for music, where you can climb up. It's almost like an antenna type thing. It's got speakers on it. Okay, so basically it's this big metal stand that looks like a ladder that's got speakers hanging up in the air so that people that are 60,000 deep can still hear what Snoop Dogg's saying to 60,000 people in front of them.
Right.
This idiot, drunk, whatever, stoned, whatever, just idiot, out of his mind, decides he's going to climb this thing. So he starts climbing all the way to the top. Well, the crowd around him starts noticing, and he's up there, he's dancing, he's having a great time, and the crowd starts turning on this guy. Or not turning on him, I'm sorry. The crowd starts chanting with this guy and singing around, and like now half of the people around this thing have formed like this circle, and they're not even paying attention to Snoop Dogg anymore. They're paying attention to this guy. Well, I'm at this part of it that now he's got my attention. Like, what is this idiot going to do? Well, security and cops start formulating at the bottom of this thing. And they are just waiting him out. He's got to come down eventually, right?
Right.
So they're going to arrest this guy. The crowd starts turning on the cops. They're booing him and the security guards. They're booing these guys. God. They're saying, let him be. Let him be. Let him be.
I love it.
And I'm sitting here, and of course, in the moment, you're watching it, and you're watching this fool up there have the time of his life, right? I never foresaw what was going to happen next. All of a sudden, the entire crowd starts pushing in onto the security guards, kind of pinning them up against this thing so that they can't turn around. And now they start chanting, jump, jump, jump.
Oh, no.
Jump. And this fool jumps 20 feet into a crowd of people, and they, again, crowd surf him away from those security guards, and he never got in trouble.
That's incredible.
Is that not a phenomenal story? I gives me goosebumps thinking about it. I was like, man, because
I love it.
You would have never thought that the crowd would have helped that dude get out of a situation, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my Snoop Dogg crazy concert story number 2. Hit me with what you got. Okay. Number 3.
So this one I know because this
real quick. Yeah. We got about 3.5 minutes.
All right, I'll rush through it.
All right.
So this one is the one I was getting the Ozfest one mixed up, because this one I was 10 because it was my first rock concert ever. We're going to see Alice Cooper, and
10 years old seeing Alice Cooper.
Yeah, it was my first rock concert. We went to see Alice Cooper, and my dad, just being in the scene all the years, knew Eric Singer, who was the drummer at the time.
Okay.
Who is now the drummer in Kiss. He goes, hey, Mark, you can be at the show tonight. And he goes, yeah, I'd like to bring my son, but it's 21 and over.
Okay.
And he goes, bring him. I'll take care of the rest. Eric Singer.
Yeah.
Bring your son.
Yeah.
Okay. So show up. He goes, meet me at the front door. Bouncers there. Long ass line to get in, obviously. Bass player and Eric. I think bass player was Chuck at the time. So Chuck and Eric like meet us outside, and we start walking around the building, like the backstage.
10 years old.
10 years old. Chuck giving me pics. I'm like, this is the coolest day ever. This is the coolest
That
thing
alone
ever.
right there would have been the coolest thing ever.
Oh, yeah, it gets cooler.
I know.
We're walking under the stage, like through the catacombs of this place.
Sure. Yeah.
One of the opening bands is on right now. I'm like walking beneath the drummer. It's louder than hell. Of course, because I'm a rocker child, I don't cover my ears or anything. I'm like, this is so cool.
You have to embrace the noise.
Exactly. We walk through, my dad and I, no tickets, nothing. Walk through the crowd into the where the soundboard is, right in the middle of everything. Takes my dad, puts him in there, puts me in there, pulls a security guide and goes, if anyone asks, this is Alice's nephew. For one night, I was Alice Cooper's nephew. Played the show. So much fun because it was the tour of what now is my favorite Alice Cooper album. It was that tour. And I knew every song. It was the first time also I'd been to a concert. I knew every song. I knew the whole set list. Sure. And as a kid, like that made me feel like, oh, I knew everything.
Right.
So I enjoyed it much more. Show's over. Everyone clears out. Besides us, because Eric told us to wait. Eric grabs us. We go out back. We're going to go on Alice's tour bus and just go hang out with him.
You're just going to hang out with Alice Cooper on his tour bus.
Yeah.
Because that's just what normal people get to do.
Yeah.
That is normal people who are now Alice Cooper's family.
Nephew, yes. So I always still joke to this day, like, I know I'm Alice Cooper's nephew.
Dude, and what's crazy about that is you shared something with those guys, and they'll remember you forever. I mean, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I've seen Eric a ton now over the years, whether or not he remembers that story because he's got so many now. But
yeah.
Regardless, like as a 10-year-old kid, like he made my life.
Right, and that's his job. Right. I mean, that's not his job, but like he makes that his job. It's part of it.
It's cool. Like running into him at Kiss shows. It's just, it's no longer like, oh my God, it's Eric Singer. Like, what's up, Eric?
Right.
I don't give him a fist bump. Like he's one of the guys like to me now. And like, that's super cool to me.
What's crazy about that, Ian, is that I've learned tonight, you are royalty. So, ladies and gentlemen, as always, Bobby Talks, ... Sitting here with Ian Cicchini. Man, I can't thank you enough for making the drive and coming down.
Oh, thanks for having me. I've been looking forward to doing this, one of the informal ones for a while now.
Well, buddy, I appreciate you being here. All of you, we'll see you on down the road. Bobby Parr, hey, go and see episode 18 with Sarah Agnew. We didn't get a chance to get there.
Yeah,
We'll see
it's
you on down the
good.
road. All right, bye-bye.
Bye.